Back to how Mouse ruined comics.
Okay.
All right, 30 seconds. Your 30 seconds are up. No more boomer music.
Hello. It is another Wednesday. It is another episode of the Mattriarchy. I am, as per usual, your host, Matt Rhys, coming to you from rainy and cloudy Scottsbluff, Nebraska. Tony Sizzle, welcome. We are today. I'm joined by the ever-present Twitless. He's
Yay!
like some sort of fungal infection. He just doesn't go away.
Is that what you call your co-host?
No. I'm just being uncharitable.
Hey, I'm a fun guy.
Nice.
No, what he calls his co-host is missing because there's supposed to be another Matt here that's never here.
That's true.
Matt.
That Matt stopped doing this a while ago. So, Mega Bats is in the chat. The Metal, thank you for coming on tonight.
Yeah. Glad to be here.
We also have Cartoonicus.
Stay tuned.
Yes, and we are here today to talk about names. So, I gotta tell a story. We were supposed to do a deep dive into this book right here. Hang on, it's right here. I don't have it ready yet. It's in the thing that's Ghostopolis by Doug TenNapel. However, yesterday, one of our book club guys, Matt Krotz, comes to me and he says, I don't think I can make it. And I was like, what? He's like, hey, I got a thing. Can we do this Thursday? I was like, do you think we can do this Thursday, pal? So we can't do it Thursday because I got plans.
Because if you're Irish, or if you pretend to be Irish.
Well, I'm of Irish descent.
Okay.
So.
I thought he said I'm a virus.
I'm eating lots of potatoes tomorrow. Nobody can stop me.
We're anyway. So
I'm very Irish. My last name is McGrath.
Is there a pub? Are you going to a pub?
We actually were. There's a brew pub in town. I'm a member of the local Celtic Society, and so we are hosting a concert / fundraiser at the brew pub tomorrow night. So I'm busy from 6 to 9, and we'll see what happens. It's a definite possibility there, Tony. It's a definite possibility.
Beware, if you don't wear green, Twitless will fly across the country and pinch you.
Well, we'll see.
Not with the gas prices and what they've become.
So that's tomorrow. My tomorrow night.
I didn't say on a plane.
So just winging it. Just winging it over. So Evie says yo. Say yo right back.
Yo.
And Dave Ashanovich is here as well. Hello, Dave. So we were going to do that, but instead we're doing that on the 30th. And tonight we are talking about names. It was one of those topics we had back in the hopper. We're bringing it out to have a conversation about how you name stuff, why you name stuff, and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, and we may, depending, we might even pop a little bit. We might have a call-in section. I posted this to Twitter. Call in at some point with your favorite superhero names, or if you have any thoughts on how to name a superhero character, because we do this for you guys. We do it mostly for our own egos, if we're being honest. But we also do it for you guys in chat. So
hey, I do it for the kicks.
Okay, all right.
For the lols.
Evie says, I'm going to ride on Omega Girl's back to get to you. Yeah, I don't know if she would be okay with me flying across the country to hurt somebody else.
You can become
kind of
villain named the Pincher.
Like that little thing on the Super Friends that would pal around with Hal Jordan.
Oh gosh.
Anyhow. So, Twitless, you've named stuff. How do you come up with names for things?
Okay, so I have some name theories. I've put way too much time into this. I fill notebooks with names. That's actually one of my first strategies. But let's before we get into like actually how we do it, let's do the broader framework, okay? Because I have some thoughts to spill with you guys, and again, chat, tell me if I'm wrong, but I do have some theories about naming conventions and how to approach it before you even get down into the down and dirty of actually doing the names and stuff. Tony Sizzle says Composite Superman is the best name ever. Oh gosh, here we go.
I'm not sure if that's correct, but I love it anyway.
Actually, Composite Superman, it literally violates one of my first theories and principles of superhero naming conventions.
Ooh, I like it already.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so one of my rules. Let's start with the syllable rule. So one of my rules is a syllable rule, which is like some of this is just kind of a bit of a survey, a study of current superhero names. So a lot of current superhero names, if you just rattle off a bunch of Marvel and DC characters, you're going to notice a lot fall into the 2 to 3 syllable range. Batman, Iron Man, Spider-Man, a lot of the best, especially the Stan Lee alliteration ones. But somewhere within the 2 to 3 syllable range, I think that's probably best practice, your sweetest spot. I think 4 isn't too bad. You get away with some of them there, especially if they're attached to like Captain Adam. You get 4. Omega Girl falls into the 4 syllable range. Metal says, I bet I break every single one of Twitter's probably, yeah. The 2 to 3 syllable range, I think, is the perfect sweet spot. 4 is okay. 5, I think, is where things start to stretch. And 6 is usually 6 and 7 and more. I think 6 or more is where things you get into some trouble, except for Captain America. He gets he's a notable exception.
Also, the Incredible Hulk.
Well, Hulk actually tends to, that's kind of a cheat because that's his title. They just call him Hulk most of the time. He's the Hulk, which is basically just one syllable. So that's one of the things is that superhero names tend to they're not just they're not elongated like titles. Like they tend to be short and punchy, just in terms of how they roll off the tongue.
So, are you telling me you don't like the name Bobobo?
That's not the character's name. I'm pretty sure that's the series name. But for superheroes, especially, like I said, I think there's kind of a syllable, unspoken kind of principle there. So that's one of them. Another principle is the fact that superhero names, and this is the one that I think is the beginner mistake.
This is perfect. Comp, by the way. Side note: 6 and up is light novel title tier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Good point.
Oh, now we're gonna get into anime, aren't we?
Of course. Well, that's like that's some Japanese names will have superhero names. They'll sometimes be kind of long too.
I know, but even if we look at some of the
let's limit this to English, shall we?
One Punch Man is still 3 syllables, so like a lot of even in the
thing he was a satire of too, like Onpon Man, very short.
Yeah.
So that's one principle. So another principle is and this is the one that I think that some newcomers and beginners, including myself, have made, which is sometimes we get so wrapped up in the like the mythology of certain aspects of names that we could name a character something that has a lot of ideological significance, but doesn't necessarily capture the sort of pulp and popular side of characters. Superhero characters are made for their pop culture. And so it doesn't matter if you can name a character Humbaba from the Epic of Gilgamesh. People are going to go Humbaba. That sounds kind of like a character from The Lion King. Whereas I'm serious, that's what people are going to. That is true. They're going to think something like that. Whereas for a really good superhero name, you want to really capture very, very quickly and powerfully an image that imbues and it captures the character's essence. And hopefully in a very dynamic way. So those are 2 of the kind of background principles I think about when I think about names. So those are my principles. What do you guys got?
I don't. Okay, so here's part of the thing you got to look out for me. Like, I am not convinced. I am 100% not convinced that I make good like superhero like code name type names.
Do we need to jump over to Forces of Good and Evil and find out?
Yeah, you'll have to go read Forces of Good and
Game
Evil.
Boy isn't bad. That's a pretty good
Game
one.
Boy isn't bad. That wasn't mine, really, per se. That was more.
Oh, I take it back then.
Buckskin Boone was mine.
I was about to bring up Buckskin Boone. I like Boone.
Yeah, I love Boone too.
That's a pretty good name.
But see, that doesn't like that's Boone's name. right? The Buckskin Boone is his name. He doesn't have a superhero moniker, right?
Okay.
So Greg Mason
even
doesn't
better.
have a supervillain moniker. He's just Greg Mason, right? So Chad Little sort of has a superhero. He's Chad the Tinker.
So is this an intervention? We're going to be teaching you how to do names. Is that it? Okay.
That's why he brought us on.
Part of it
Actually,
is
wait,
like,
no, I take that back. Professor Putty was a pretty good name.
yeah,
That was pretty good.
Really good.
Yeah, I think that was a good one.
Well, Al Jin was one of the ones I came up with. Golden Rapid was one of the ones I came up with.
Algin's a little weaker for me as a name. As a character, I think he's really good. I'm not sold entirely on the name.
Yeah. Well, and you don't have to be. he's because I mean, like the purpose is that he's supposed to be iconic within the universe because of his role, not because he's a marketing thing. So,
and that's kind of like the same where like that's a strong mythological name because all Jin, but like Al, and it may not work for the average audience, but it's got like a nice flavor to it.
Right, and it's supposed to feel like something that's obscure, like a golden age idea that's obscure and may not have carried on. Oh my God.
I have to read that. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
No,
my mom is.
Evie's. I'll put this on the screen.
Yeah. My mom is a witch. My dad is a king, and I'm a smartphone. Living as a smartphone in another world with elves.
Those are my favorite times.
I love those. Those are great. And that one is so good. It sounds real, even though I know you made that up.
Evie, we got to talk.
That's a good one.
After the show, we got to talk.
Like two of my favorite manga are "Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon?" and "No One Is Ever a Girl on the Internet."
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
gosh.
yeah.
I like I shaved, then I brought home a high school girl. That's a real one. I didn't make that up.
Yeah, no, I believe it.
Larry, welcome
Welcome.
and happy birthday.
Thank you.
So we are talking about naming conventions. Twitless just gave his list of rules.
Principles. There weren't rules.
Oh,
I gave
principles.
some guidelines and principles.
It's more
Well,
of
it might
a
as well be rules
guideline, really.
If you don't live by your principles, are you even doing anything?
Now that's a good topic for a different show.
Too deep.
So what I was going to say is I do tend to take the mythology and the concept of a name first, because they even when I'm naming the people like regular names, right? When I'm giving people their civilian names, I try to take a look at how that's going to fit in with the whole thing of it all. So that's part of it. So I don't know that I'm the guy, because I don't. It's not that I think on a whole different level than people. It's just I don't think I relate to people like the real humans.
Same.
I relate to fictional creatures and fictional worlds far more than I would relate to real people.
I can confirm this.
So,
I mean,
I live in a world populated by ideas. So
I can relate to that.
That's fair.
more things you have in common with Harvey Picard, I think.
That's probably true.
Oh.
Although he,
Not bald yet, though. So
he
there's that.
He did get along with the local people at the deli, so.
So
I got some.
stream?
Yeah, I got some. This is Mrs. H. She's always great in showing us cool stuff. So she says that her approach is I make the title to help decide. So she takes the graphic design approach. It looks like.
Oh wow!
So whichever makes the best looking logo.
Interesting.
So I
That's
like
actually
that.
really fun.
That's actually
like,
that's legit.
I will share. We were talking about that we're talking about Doug Tenaple today, but I've talked to Doug about how he comes up with names, and he usually just takes two words that he thinks sound cool together, and he either has an idea for a story first, and he's looking for ideas that words that encapsulate those ideas, or it's a situation where he's like, well, here's two words that don't fit together. Let's fit them together and make a story out of it. So,
This guy sounds like he's a songwriter.
Well, he has written songs. I'm not sure how well.
Interesting.
Those things fit in there.
Magabat says, according to my principles, Cyberfrog is a great name, captures the essence, and has 3 syllables. So there you go. Cyberfrog is in fact a good name.
Yeah, it's not a bad title at all.
It's a good name.
So, and Cartoonicus is sharing something.
Taste Pot Pete. Well, it's got the 3 syllables, and it does capture the essence, but yeah.
Funny thing about naming superheroes and supervillains is if it doesn't work out, you can always just turn around and make them into a joke later on.
That's true. And also, that was sort of a moment in time. Nobody uses paste pots anymore, so and haven't for a very, very long time.
I mean, Stiltman is a good name, and even though he's a silly character, so you could have a great name and still have a dumb character. So
Yeah,
it's
Killer
not,
Moth. Like,
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Killer Moth is a name you'll never forget.
Condiment King.
Oh jeez.
It fits. It's got alliteration in at least in the sound. It works.
I learned that guy exists because of the Lego Batman movie.
Oh, hey, that's actually a really good point. Evie's pointing about to Naples, Bing Bong Boop. Yeah, as far as the cadence of them.
The cadence of it, yeah. And those are some other things that apply to names as well. Stan Lee definitely had a very alliterative quality to a lot of his names. It just rattled up, duh, duh. It was pow pow. Was kind of how Stan Lee names kind of roll off the tongue.
I love Tony Sizzle's comment. 2 words that sound cool together. Discussion over.
I mean,
well, and that's like that. I mean, like I said,
that's
when I'm coming up with a character's name, I guess what I'm trying to look for a lot of times is coming up with like real person names that have that kind of some sort of quality to them where it sounds like a real name. Like somebody like Chad Little is a guy. I mean, like I named Chad after a real Chad that I knew. I mean, the dude's name was Chad. He was not. I mean, he's a dad. He's got kids. They're growing up good. He's doing all the stuff. But my point is that his name is Chad. But anyway, yeah. So
you gonna bring up the Chad meme now?
No, we came up with it before the Chad meme.
Oh,
so, yeah. 2003 is when we named our
you're
character.
old.
We're that old.
It was
so
prophetic.
Let's go back to
Yeah.
Metal. What thoughts do you have? Do you have any philosophies or guiding principles for making names, or you just
So
freestyle it?
I honestly would not recommend for people to make names the way I do. Not because I don't come up with cool names, because I actually think I'm pretty good at naming things. But I think unless your processing power is as high as mine, it's not a wise way to make names. Because I basically make entire detailed models of how my worlds and characters work in my head, which for a lot of people take a long time. And I will let the model of the world tell me what the names are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That fits into sort of the way I look at it too, is that the name of the character is part of the world building of the character.
right.
And like
Metal, give us an example of that in action. A name that you've gotten, maybe a little bit of how it came to be.
Actually, I could use Realms and Relics as an example.
Right.
One of the main characters' names is Kaviria, right? I did not like look at this character, like make the name first or anything. I made the character, and because she is a Vanir from like Vanaheim, she told me that her name should be spelt that way based on everything else around her. It's got some of that like Nordic naming convention to it naturally, but I didn't like look anything up. It's like her name is just Kaviria. And that happens a lot. A lot of names for towns and stuff are that same way too. I'll just start building a model of the town, and then like the residents of the town will tell me what the name is, based on like the culture and like the daily life of that town.
So okay, I got it, but how does that create a name for you? Like, how do you get from a town that's got a lot of maybe peasants in it to how that character might be named in that town?
Let's see. Again, it's like really complicated, and this is why I don't recommend it for most people, because it's very systems thinking, right? So everything in that area will fit within a certain culture. So all the people will have the same naming conventions. Maybe their names will even be done under whatever the convention of the town is, because that town came from the same culture, right? So if, say it's a very peasant town, and also it's a very rough town with a rough background. Maybe they went through droughts. Maybe they've had to fight off a lot of people, and their culture's rough. So the language of that area will probably also be very harsh. So a lot of the names will be maybe simple, short, and harsh, because that's the entire culture of that area.
Gotcha. No, that explanation is pretty solid, and I don't think that's that complicated.
Yeah. Well, the problem with it is like it comes with a lot of pre-thinking, right? So you
That's
can't
very
really
cool
just like
to
run
me.
off of it unless you're like me, where I can come up with like the entire culture of a planet in 5 minutes. But most people can't do that, so that's why I don't recommend it.
World building is
All
important.
right,
though.
Iluvatar. Let's okay, so we got some stuff in chat to see here. Mrs. H says, "World building boop. In my comic, everyone goes by their screen name. How the Galactic Communication Network functions. Interesting. You'll have to give us hop on or give us an example of that." Evie says, "I like names that are terms we use normally but put in a new context. So puns. You like puns. you and Cartoonicus would get along."
I would like to point out that she gives the example of poison ivy, and her example is wonderful, except that everything that they have done with poison ivy since the cataclysm event has actually undone what poison ivy is. So
we're just talking about her name, just her name.
Useless, but her name no longer reflects her character. Way to go, DC.
Is she no longer an irritating thing that crawls up walls? I mean, like,
no.
Okay.
Poison ivy doesn't do much crawling. You're confusing
Yeah.
English ivy with poison ivy.
I'm just kidding. It does crawl around the ground. Like I used to have a ton of it around my house.
Yeah, it does creep across the ground. So do strawberries, but they're less irritating.
All right. Evie says that's some deep lore. I feel like I could do an essay about that type of name scheme. Well, feel free.
We always encourage people to go write essays for fun.
Yeah. Please go write essays, and I'll grade them by next week.
No, just start a blog, put nothing but essays there, become a research material for people.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
So who's next?
So we have not talked to Larry about names yet.
Oh.
So what I like to do with names is I like to have multiple different layers of meaning in the name tied together. And I want the name to, unless it's something where you're like taking a name of a character that's actually, previously done by somebody else, you want to have the name mean something immediate, like basic, like, first name, last name. But you want the last name to be either callback or, referential to something else. And the first name, I generally like simple first names. Now, sometimes if I'm wanting to evoke a particular culture, I'll poke around their names, like the Basques, for example. Basques have all sorts of interesting, cool things you want to kind of draw out. But that's how I go about names as a rule.
Rick Tungsten says Dirk McCheesejaw. I got that reference.
Yes.
That was one of the best episodes of MST3K.
And
I
if
understood
you
that
like that
reference.
episode of MST3K, I recommend going back and going through the Forces of Good and Evil archives and checking out the story Day in the Life Part 2, Dad Gets a Girl, where that movie gets an honorable mention.
Space Mutiny, awesome. Okay.
Also, if that whole meme from that episode is a big part of our thumbnail for today's episode, which is probably
That
what
was awesome.
Blake is talking about.
It sounds like you need somebody to do like a cross-reference index for the Forces of Good and Evil.
It's
so that
possible.
somebody could like put in a search term and you can reference a specific page.
Somebody could definitely do that. We're both Chris and I, when we were working on it, hardcore, both pretty much pop culture junkies. So.
And then speaking of pop culture, Tony Sizzle just put in again one of the best superhero animations of all time, which was from The Tick, the animated series, which is comedy incarnate. Chairface Chippendale, hilarious. That's a
double
those,
pun.
Yeah.
It's a great name.
It's a good name. It's stretching the syllables, the syllable principle. It's
5.
It's 5. It's flirting,
Yeah.
but
it's doing it for
And also,
comedy,
you really
though,
only deal with
so-
the chair face part anyway.
typically, yeah.
So, but yeah,
Or
once
the
again,
cha, if you're looking at the
one of
moon.
things-
I look at the moon. Yeah.
I think that your suggestions. I mean, it's like your suggestions show a good way to make a name. Like if you follow these rules, it's a good name, but it does not describe all good names.
Oh no, totally. Yeah. I'm
Yes.
just that's why I said like
So-
that's why I said best practice, because best practice is
Yeah.
something that will.
I mean,
if you're in the sweet spot, you'll often hit something solid. But there are, like I said, there are exceptions. Captain America is probably one of the most.
I was going to say,
important
really, Rhys just described all of art.
ones. yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know,
Okay, so-
sometimes
Oh.
like a character will tell me their name, but it doesn't really work in world. But it's so funny, I can't like deny the character their name. So I have a character called as a superhero. The title of the book is The Astounding Jackrabbit, which I need to remake and finish. So the Jackrabbit's their superhero name, but the character's actual name is a pun. Her name is Jacqueline Harper, but if you shorten it, it's Jackie Harper, which sounds like Jackie Hopper, and because she's a jackrabbit. And like I drew the character, and she told me her name, and I'm like, yeah, I can't deny you that. That's just a great name.
Just your name.
That really sounds like that should be like a young adult graphic novel. The way you just described that.
Yeah. Cartoonicus, I think you're one of the last ones who hasn't spoken yet.
Already?
What are your naming? Actually, I can just sum this up. It's just puns. You just name
Yeah,
everything
pretty
with a pun. Yeah. Okay.
Let me clarify that though. When I name a character, I need their. Getting back to what you talked about, Stan Lee's alliterations and how he supposedly used them to remember his names, which I think I heard somewhere that he later on said that did not work. It actually shot him in the foot. But in the same way, when I choose a name, I want that name to have a very particular connection to who and what that character is. As you guys might know, I draw a lot of anthropomorphic cartoon animals. That means the puns are ripe for the picking, basically. Let me give you some examples. I'm going to put this up here.
Okay, we'll go ahead and share the screen.
Alrighty. I'm going to give you one guess as to what this character's name is.
Is it Cat?
Close enough. Kitty.
Okay.
Kitty Taylor. Taylor.
Oh, okay. I was wondering if she made clothes.
All right. This guy right here on the left, this is her brother, Claude Taylor. This bulldog here, this is Pit Boxer. The squirrel's name.
He's a mixed breed, apparently.
Yep. As a matter of fact, yes. He literally, his mother and father are two different breeds.
Okay, Okay, I have to pause you right now. If you're allergic, if you have any allergic to like toxic levels of puns, like Cartoonicus will test your pun tolerance level.
Well, first
so
of all,
you might need to take a supplement if you're going to get through these names.
I'd like to point out that if somebody's watching the show, if it's not your first time tuning in, then chances are you already have developed an immunity to puns.
I'm just saying, if you haven't, go take
True.
some, go get a vaccination.
Especially because it's about to get much better.
This is monster high level of naming, Evie says.
The squirrel's name is Hazel McNutt. Right. Ignore this guy for now. I'm actually still in the middle of trying to get him just right, but he's a coyote. I will move on to the next. Oop, why can't I get that? I got a couple more here for you.
You should put together a PowerPoint so we could get through this.
That's essentially what I did, but something went wrong there.
Magabat says this is getting into some furry territory.
No.
Which actually that's a pun. It works on multiple levels.
Okay, here's where less puns start coming into play, but you'll see a similar pattern. Nitro, the Roadrunner. Echo, the bat. Stinky, the skunk. The bird's name here is Skylar Swift, actually. So
You sound like Sonic the
slightly
Hedgehog
punish.
characters.
Guess who's a big Sonic fan?
How interesting.
Yeah, I would have never guessed.
Never guessed it.
Ruby, the hummingbird. As if you've ever heard of a ruby-threaded hummingbird. Lachelle, the turtle.
Oh my gosh, I'm dead. See, I have a high tolerance for puns, but he'll always find one that will get past my defenses, and I will physically feel pain.
And Victoria Fox, or Vixie for short.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely helps you remember, and it definitely, just right off the bat, you've already got a taste for what the character is, I feel, because it's not just verbal, it's visual. The second you see them and you hear that name, it's like, I get it. I see how that connects.
All right. Well, Drake apparently likes thought the Lachelle name was funny. My turtle's name is Shelly.
There you go, Shelly.
Shelly,
Yep.
I get it. Oh gosh.
So I'm assuming, Drake, that your turtle is an actual turtle. Am I understanding that correctly? Doesn't that joke stink?
I did not get that at all.
How much money can a skunk carry? 1 cent. That was the joke.
What have you done, Cartoonicus? You've brought the avalanche. The storm has cometh.
Come on, we here on the Mattriarchy, we're not afraid of dad jokes. Come on.
But see, the thing is, I'll do this with human characters too, even if it's not perhaps as obvious. Although I will say I would not be against naming an artist art. Right, we were talking about Spiegelman before. I thought it's so cool that his name is actually art.
Okay, well,
right?
It's not his name.
He changed it. He changed it to art.
He
Yeah.
named himself.
That's
Well,
his
there you
pen
go.
name. His
Interesting.
name is Yitzhak.
Well, it's
Gotcha.
not his pen name. He legally changed it to art.
Or did he legally change it too?
Oh, wow.
He legally changed it.
For
Okay.
that purpose?
I don't know. As you can tell, he has a big rebellious streak. And he embraced the arts partially because it was kind of something separate from his father, who was such a practical man.
His dad thought that art was stupid.
Gotcha.
So he was like, "I'll show you, stupid. I'll make money." Okay.
And I'll name myself Art.
But
So only like half stupid because the money part's good.
Yeah. Well, you gotta feed yourself.
Evie says she kind of likes Lachelle as a name. You're giving. I cringe. I'm internally cringing.
Oh, come on. You got a character called Combustibel.
That's a good name.
I agree, but it's not less funny.
It's a good name because I came up with it.
Yeah, exactly. It follows my third unstated principle, which is if I come up with the name, it's brilliant. I thought that part went unsaid. I didn't think I had to say that part out loud.
Here, I'm gonna go ahead and put that in the chat so everybody else can see.
I have become Art ruined of comics. Awesome.
Oh.
All right, I have to dig up Combustibel now so I can show everybody.
welcome
Twitter's-
to
Twitter's-
the pun zone.
It's a
Yeah,
pretty snappy name.
I
Yeah,
actually have there's an
Abandon
origin.
all hope.
Well, and that's actually one of the things that spurred on this thing is Twitless and I were chatting one day about stuff, and he was saying, he's like, I just came up with it. And like, Twitless, if you guys have got to take the time to read Super Schooled, which you ought to, and you can find it right here. There's a link right there. There are tons of great throwaway superhero names, like one-shot gags that these guys have put together that are definitely worth checking out.
Captain Planetarium is probably one of my favorites, even though it doesn't fit entirely.
Yeah.
Because a planetarium is actually not like we were going off of Captain Planet, and that's what
Right.
the character is a riff off of. But an actual planetarium has to do with like stars and crap. But the name sounded too funny, so I just stuck with it. And since the character's an idiot, the fact that the name doesn't quite fit is actually funnier to me. So
Yeah, we have in Forces, we got a character called Captain Truancy. And similarly, I mean, it's not a great superhero name, but it's a great gag.
Mhm.
He's the truancy officer at the Hero School at the Jack Cole Institute for Superheroics in rural Wisconsin. So,
All right.
he's a superhero by day, a rock star by night. He's Captain Truancy.
Truancy. Truancy.
Yep.
All right. So why are we looking at this image here, Cartoonicus?
That was not.
Okay. No,
But
Evie,
you know what? But you know what? Check out my DeviantArt page.
Yeah, check out your DeviantArt page. Evie's got a question. I think a comment in chat that I want to address about my my screen name. I have an origin story behind Twitless. So if anyone's ever played Ratchet and Clank, in Up Your Arsenal,
No.
there's a scene where Lawrence is, who's a robot, is talking to his evil robot master, Dr. Nefarious. And Lawrence is this butler, and he's always snidely like making these backhanded insults to his master. And he ends up saying something like, what is it? Dr. Nefarious makes like a joke or something. And he's like, "What do you think of that, Lawrence?" And Lawrence says something like, "You put the wit in twit, sir." So for some reason I took from that and I just kind of put twitless, because it's a pun off of witless. And but if you're less of a twit, that would actually make you not quite as stupid, right? So I actually think that I'm trying. Yeah, it's a word game. Yeah, there's ambiguity there.
It occurs to me suddenly that this is apparently where
Yes, it's not role play related for once.
Oh gosh, no.
There you go, Evie.
Yeah, you're just hoping somebody spins it around on you and says you put the wit in twitless.
You put the wit in twitless. I mean, yeah, that works. I like that.
Here's the thing: is like people that I know in the real world, I talk about you there sometimes. That's twitless.
Oh, really?
And for whatever reason, I often, especially with my wife, I'll refer to you by your screen name and your real name to explain who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's more than once I've given this explanation. I don't know why, but it seems organic when it happens. And more than once, my wife has been in the middle of something else and been like, "Your co-host calls himself twitless?" They're like, "Yes." She's like, "All right."
I live at Twit's End. I do. No, so like, but like I said, if you're twit less, like I said, that means you have less twit to you, which actually, like I said, there's a word game in there. Also,
Yeah.
if I make fun of myself, then I cut people off at the pass.
Yeah, there's a rhetorical name for that. I can't remember what it's called though.
Self-effacing?
No. It is a when you say the bad thing about yourself before someone else gets the chance at it.
Lampshading?
Right. Like, I can't remember what it is, but I can't think of it.
Stealing
See, that
the
only
thunder?
cuts off those who aren't talented. What you're really doing is raising the bar of the challenge.
Oh, I know. I get twatless all the time.
Which, in fairness, that's not a bad thing, being a guy.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is like, because of how I position the name, the insults are even still like, coded slightly as not quite insults.
I did once have a comic I was writing where the name of the city was going to be Twitsburg.
That's a good name for a city.
Did you do that for me?
No.
Okay. That was long before you met me. There we go. That's right. We know each other by our non-made up names too, so it doesn't make any sense.
We do?
Yeah, actually, Cartoonicus did take a name for me. Did take one name from me, and had to do with a fantasy story I was creating.
I am trying to figure out which one that is.
You needed a name for your unbreakable metal.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he remembers that. Okay.
All right.
Okay, so let's now that we've talked to some names, do you want to do a small call-in section and see if anyone wants to hop in chat or hop on stream and tell us what their favorite superhero name is?
I think,
and then we can all vote.
Fun.
What is your favorite?
That's choose good time because I have to leave to do something IRL. So it frees up a little space too.
You have an RL?
Leave.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I actually do have to run to the store before it closes.
I'd like to take this minute, and feel free to leave in the middle of my rant if you want. I'm not trying to hold you up or anything. Yeah. But I'd like to point out that, like, in the last 2 years, I live in rural Nebraska, the middle. Well, actually, it's not the end of the earth, but you can see it from here, right? And here in my little town, we used to have just a few years ago, like 5 or 6 businesses that were open all night long. So if you wanted to go get your groceries at 11 o'clock at night, go for it, man. You could do it. And then this whole COVID thing, I can't even get a tank of gas after 11. What the? I mean,
I know.
Well, you
It's a
can't get a
lot.
tank of gas anyway right now.
What is this? The
Yeah.
UK? What is this? The UK? People go to bed and does this is shut down in the middle of the night?
Yeah, I don't get it.
No,
Well,
I
the
live in
internet
a
never
major
existed.
area, and I can't shop in the middle of the night anymore. COVID really screwed up a lot with my schedule.
I'm
Well, and the
actually
worst thing is, like-
kind of okay with it because I would love for people to start going to bed earlier, and that would actually help the family culture of America if people could go home and have
Logan,
normal
they're not
hours.
going to bed
No, it
earlier. They're sitting up watching.
I
live
mean,
streams
sure.
till
I
9
mean,
o'clock at
you
night.
get the point I'm making. The 24/7
Yeah.
availability thing is not necessarily conducive to the family model of Middle America.
Well, that's true, but neither is living an artistic life, and that's something I've done for years. You get your one day with the wife and kids, and then you get your second day when you're up too late working on your projects. That's the.
So I'll catch you guys later.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later, Metal. Thanks
All
for
right.
hanging out, man.
Thanks
I
for
see
coming,
your-
Metal. Thank you.
I see where you made your mistake, Rhys. You have people in your life.
So anyway, totally unrelated rant. Doesn't have anything to do with names. It's just something that I get super irritated at anymore.
I get you.
Well, and
All right.
part of it too. This is also on the rant. So our local, one of our 24-hour establishments used to be the Walmart, right? And so when Walmart went 24/7, they started stocking throughout the day. And when I used to work at Walmart, we only could stock like pallets on the floor after 10, right? So when your normal if you were shopping during normal person hours, you didn't have to try to, you had access to the store, there was no blockage of aisles, all that kind of stuff. But once they got 24 hours, they got a little lax with it because, they were stocking all day long because they were shopping all day long. And now that it's no longer, they close at 11, they still have stuff on the floor blocking your ways to get to the aisles all day long. So it's just like, you might as well be shopping in a damn warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what the hell? I mean,
Well,
if
see,
you're not
that's
going to
what-
let me go buy pizzas at 2 a.m., why the hell am I dodging around these pallets full of crap? That's my point.
All right.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You need to start doing P-Car style comics where you just you rant about going to the Walmart, and I'm serious. You could probably freaking get like get an Eisner for it.
We'll call you Captain Picard.
Oh, that's bad.
I told you.
You gotta leave. You gotta
I told
go.
you. I told you.
That's-
What did I tell you? If you've not been vaccinated against puns, you better take one, or it's gonna hurt.
I'm sorry, Cartoon. I guess that wasn't cool. I shouldn't have just.
Oh
kicked
no,
him
no.
like that,
See,
but I
this
thought it
is
was
what
funny.
this is what Twitless does not understand. There are no good puns. The point
No,
of a
that's
pun
not
is
true.
to get the groan,
Not
to get
true.
the eye roll.
No.
See, I don't know.
There's a
I
difference. No. There's a difference between an eye roll and kidney cancer.
Yeah. So, but here's where I think is the eye roll is there there is a level of pun that's really about manipulating the people around you. It's like
That's called a dad
in-person
joke.
trolling, like before that was a thing, right? Yeah, you say something and it seems really stupid, and then everyone looks at you like, oh, and then so that's the thing. But at the same time, like there is a place where puns actually expand your understanding of language and meaning. And you look at like the Old Testament, even a lot of the New Testament, there are these puns that are woven into the text. And it's like when you understand it's there, it actually opens up multiple layers of meaning, how craftily it's done. And I've seen that with poetry and rap and stuff too.
Don't forget Shakespeare's puns, like "Get thee to a nunnery."
Yes, very true. Very true.
Or
Excellent
cunnery.
point, Larry. So I think that there are good puns, but there's also a beauty to the groaners. So anyway,
In other words, I'm an artist.
well, yeah, I've seen your comics, so I can't.
I
I
mean, no,
mean-
but with puns. Puns
Oh,
are an
well,
art form.
I don't know about that.
Anyway,
Didn't say
So-
great artist.
so,
All right.
okay, I was gonna go ahead and drop the link in the chat. That's what I was.
Yeah,
gonna do.
yeah. Come in and tell us what your favorite superhero name is, or if you've got a naming rule that we've not covered yet. If you have the secrets to the naming universe of how to name superheroes in particular, because that's kind of what we're talking
Did
about.
I hit send or did I just put that in? No, I did not. Actually, and I'm going to share this out to all of the platforms we're streaming on. Oh, it looks like. Oh, I can't. Okay, that's right. Okay. Doo-doo-doo. There we go.
Evie asked,
For you guys there in the out there in the internet world, if you want to come on in, feel free.
Tell us
You were gonna
about your favorite superhero names and the names of just how to name stuff. Tell us how to do it.
how you think it ought to be.
Make sure you pin that chat so that
Oh,
it's
let's see here.
so it sticks
I
there.
can. It's the
Evie
only
asked,
message up on the. It'll be only message up on Twitch because I don't think anyone's watching us on Twitch, so I won't bother to pin it there.
Okay. Yeah. Good point.
Nobody knows to watch us on Twitch, and it
Evie
doesn't
asked-
keep the archive longer than like a week or
Sorry.
two. So
Evie asked if we've ever seen someone do a math pun, and actually I have. I'm going to post it and see if anybody.
he's
gets
just gonna do pi. Pi is the math pun.
Oh, actually no, but we missed that yesterday.
I didn't miss it.
No, this was actually really interesting.
I had mixed berry a la mode. It was great.
I actually had to learn. I had to learn a little bit something about math to get this.
What was the show that had the master in it?
I've never heard of
I
that.
don't know.
Was
I can't think of it.
that Kim Possible? Hold on.
Wouldn't
That
be
sounds like a possible
surprised.
show. Kim Possible is a show that relied heavily on the
Yep.
naming pun convention.
Yep. That's that was Kim Possible. The master.
And of course,
He-
that's the thing. The more silly and comedy related you're doing, the more you can get away with, really silly puns.
Names like Alan Steele. Drake says names like Alan Steele, Jake Bullet, and Drake Tungsten.
Tungsten.
Yeah.
So one of the things like when one of the reasons we named Chad Little, which is of course Chad from Force of Good and Evil.
Yep.
Okay. Tw-
25 minus 55 plus 85 plus 65.
So here's the thing: this is an order of operations math pun,
Right. So you've
which
got
gets
Oh,
further
'cause-
complicated
right,
because there's the
yeah.
European order of operations and then there's the American mathematical order of operations. There's two separate order of operations for math.
well, yeah, it's because Chad's really big, but Chad's also a big man on campus, right? So he's designed to be the popular kid, the tough kid, and he, even though he's kind of a jerk, he's still sort of charming, and so that's part of his name. His last name Little is meant to offset the fact that he's actually this big persona.
Little John.
You're gonna make
Yeah,
me do
exactly,
math, so I have to
exactly.
pull up my calculator.
Any normal name
So,
preceded by
so
a
the
weird
part in the
adjective.
parentheses is 150. The part outside the parentheses is either 30
Negative.
or
It's
negative
negative.
30.
It's negative 30. So negative 30 is 120.
You realize the order of operations means nothing because it's all subtraction and addition.
Well, yeah,
The thing is, I had to do major research to figure this out.
See, I thought you still did the parentheses before you did left to right.
Doesn't
Well,
matter.
yeah.
It's all going to
Yeah,
be the same
You're
in this case.
in this case, yes. You still should do the parentheses first. So negative 30 plus 150 equals 120. Well, probably when we put this equals 5.
here's the
I feel like I'm missing some context here.
Yeah, I don't get it either, but I think if we're going to do recreational math,
Recreational math.
I
Yeah.
love it. I love it.
I did not. Yeah, thanks, Cartoonicus, for taking our show about names and making it about numbers. You jerk.
Hey, what is the Latin word for name?
well, the Spanish is nombre.
Numbre, numeral.
Now, if you just do this left to right, 25 and 55 is negative 30, negative 30 and 85 is negative 55. I think, yeah. And,
So we've gained a viewer since we've been talking about math equations.
Well, there you go.
I've decided to change the entire show to just be doing basic math on the screen. I'm gonna get one of those John Madden boards next week, and I'm just gonna work equations. And we're just gonna see how it shakes out.
I like this.
How did we gain a viewer from math? Are we? That,
I have no idea how it happened, and I don't know why they're still here. Oh, they just left.
Okay.
So,
They showed up, saw that it was about math, and left.
Good
I
lord.
thought we were talking about names. I'm out of here, Joe.
Okay.
All right, let's solve that later. Let's get back
Okay,
to.
we're just gonna go.
let's
We're
get
gonna drop that off.
Let's get back to naming conventions as opposed to math equations.
Well,
Good
it
You
looks
lord.
like
forgot
we
it, that
had.
it's a pun.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off the
No
thing
more
in
music.
here.
Just you can just lower it.
That's true. I can just lower it.
You just lower it so we can have that beat. There we go.
I'm going to put a different track on, though, because we do have a guest who's showing up. It is Magabats himself here to talk about names.
Hey.
How's it going?
Names. How's it going?
What's going on, guys?
Hey.
There's a real simple solution to creating a superhero name, but to get it out of the way, my favorite superhero name is Superman. It tells you everything that you need to know. He's super, and he is a man.
No, it's hard to
And
get.
he got a big,
You're
he got
not
a
wrong.
big fucking, he got a big fucking S for super,
For hope.
and he got big old muscles because he's a man.
I will say for names, it's kind of hard to go. It's hard to improve upon the original. And Superman encapsulates so much that it's more than a name. It's
Right.
like a philosoph. Yeah, he's a philosophical concept at this
Right.
point.
Right.
Yeah, you got.
Well, he was before he existed.
True. I'm just saying that as far as Superman superhero names go, it's hard to beat Superman. It also fits some of the principles I was talking about. It's got the 3 syllables.
Yes. An easy way to come up with a superhero name,
Yeah.
is to pick a color and a thing,
Yep. An
Like
animal.
The Green
Yeah.
Planet.
Green Lantern.
Yep.
You know, you could just come up with a new superhero like off the top of your head with like, you know, just be like the Yellow Hammer, and then you're like, all right, the story's about a hammer, and this guy's gonna get a hammer, and yellow's involved somehow. Like you can come up with it in 5 minutes. The Silver Surfer. Basically, you pick a color and a verb, person, place, or thing,
The blue taco.
and there you go. Boom. What's that?
The blue taco. I don't know. I need to practice this a little more.
I've eaten a blue taco. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
No, what you do is you pick your favorite color, then you look to whatever object is to your right, and you go with it.
Evie says cool adjective, noun, and 0 works. So crime ninja 0. That's
That's a little Asian. That's a little Asian for superhero.
You're
You
right.
add a number. You add a number. It becomes Asian.
Oh gosh.
Not
If you-
necessarily.
if you
the
add
Flash
math-
2, Barry Allen, he's the
You
Flash
add math
2.
to it. Jeez.
Yeah, you add like Cyborg 009, like is Asian.
What about Big
You know,
Hero
like-
6?
Yeah, it definitely fits more of a. It definitely fits
Big
more
Hero
of
It
a
wasn't
manga.
originally. Well, I guess the
It was
theme
channeling. It was channeling manga sensibilities. I get your point. Yeah, it definitely channels a more manga or anime sensibility. I agree with that.
Even anime will be like something X.
Mhm.
You know, and like X is still like a derivative of 10, but it
What about-
sounds
Stargate SG-1.
it's
Well,
Asian.
That's not a name of a character. That's the name of the show. Those are different conventions. A name of a title of a work versus a character's name. Totally different rules for that. Or principles going on.
So
no,
we call
that's a
you
good point.
Twitless7.
Twitless 7. That's a Star Trek name.
Wait,
That's a Star Trek name. Yeah, that's where I'm like a weird alien from a weird like nebula and whatever, and I fight with Captain Kirk.
Zarkon 309.
I get into
Plan
it.
9 from outer space.
I get into a death match.
You can also just take a creature
Mhm.
and then also just attach a human name to it, like Earthworm Jim or Bigfoot Bill, and
Yeah.
then be like Doug TeNapel did. So if you're just like there's in Napa, California, there's a I don't know, a local folklore about this mad scientist that lives up on this road called Patrick's Road. You can look it up. Not Patrick's, Patrick's. In Napa, there is a mad scientist who created a thing called the rebobs, which are essentially flying monkeys, like from Wizard of Oz. And so there's this lore within Napa, California, that some people do believe in the rebobs. They're like, oh, I've seen these rebobs. And so I had an idea for a story that I guess only would work for a Napa audience. And it's Robert the Rebob. And just take or Bob the Rebob. That's what I was going to go with, either or. But I realized that's a stupid idea because I'm only marketing it to
this one community.
One community, and I'm like,
I still think you could use it. It's just you would probably have to fold it into maybe a broader story. I love the idea of like Rebobert.
That's kind of how I came up with that, because I knew some guys whose screen name was that in Napa, and then I was just like, and if you guys followed my YouTube channel before, I was Maga Bats, I was Sergeant Bats, and so I had like basically a Sergeant Rock clothing on Man Bat, because I just love those. Like, there's another one, you take a thing and another thing and combine them, Sergeant Rock, and it works. Same, and it was kind of just the same thing where I wanted like the Rebob idea, but he had, being a TeNapel fan, I'm like, oh, it's just the Earthworm Jim, Bigfoot Bill ripoff, but that works, but I guess it works for a Napa audience. But someone had the screen name Rebobert, or however you said it, and I was like, that's where the wheels started turning, and I was like, oh, and I wanted to give him like a metal arm that's like but it was like what are those, like a excavator arm essentially,
like a scoop,
but like he had like two claws on the end, like a big crab excavator kind of thing, instead of a regular hand. Toxic Avenger, you just throw another one.
Yeah, so some names work better than you think they do, and I think some names, they almost break a lot of rules. Like I said, Silver Surfer, it works on one level, and on the other hand, it's like the dumbest name ever, and it's almost like those cases. I kind of like to make them special case studies. What is it about Silver Surfer that works? Because I'm sorry, like surfing and superheroes are not two things I would normally think of, and so I agree it works. But I'm like, why does it work?
It's because if you see him first and you're like, oh, this guy looks cool, what's his name? And you're like, Silver Surfer. And it's so stupid, you're like, yeah, what else would you call him?
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason Silver Surfer works is like it actually like kind of throws itself into the face of the idea, because he's not a surfer like we think of surfing, right? Like, the whole board is its own transportation. It's not riding waves. It's just totally. It has this similarity.
Cosmic waves.
Bro, yeah, but I mean, it has a similarity to something we know, but it's also totally disconnected from it. It's like when roller skating was really cool, there were a bunch of DC and Marvel characters that were roller skater themed. When roller rinks became a thing in the 70s, and every single one of those characters is stupid because they're all.
Hey man, don't hate on Skate Man. I have a signed copy from Neil Adams I paid $40 to get this stupid comic signed. I paid like he was so shocked when I seen him at the convention. He's like, oh my goodness, I haven't seen one of these in years. I'm like, I know, I got out of a dollar bin. He's like, and you're gonna pay for me to sign it? I'm like, that's why it's so stupid. I have to have it.
And come on, Dazzler had the skates, and Dazzler was a cool character.
But Dazzler's a good name. Dazzler's a good name.
Dazzler is a cool character, but Dazzler is not cool because of the skates. Dazzler is cool, and then she had skates.
Yeah. The guy get the order in the right order there. Kite Man, like, is I know he's gotten a little bit of a resurgence, I think, with the Harley Quinn show, but Kite Man is kind of a dumb name.
He got resurgence because Tom King.
Oh, okay.
Not
Wasn't he like the big bad in the War of Jokes and Riddles or some shit like that?
Not really. He was, but yes, he Tom King basically, like, you know, like how writers always have, like, they always think a character's stupid, but they're like, they try to like make them cool, but then they just kind of still make them still stupid. Like they did the same thing with Catman back in the early 2010s era. Like after Brad Meltzer mentioned Catman, and he's fat and he has dogs, and they try to make him cool by throwing him in another dimension and coming back with us. What was that? Not Sinister Six, the Secret Six. Mm-hmm. And they like try to like resurgence Catman. It was just like, no, let's let it be. Leave the stupid like Z-list Batman characters to be the Z-list Batman characters. They're fine. Like if they try to make Condiment King cool, it wouldn't be cool. It ruins.
I agree with you. I do have a very soft spot in my heart for the for Stilt Man, especially when he got the adamantium suit. I don't know why. There's something about him that I do like.
Well, he's got a great iconic look to him, and when people ask me like, oh, what's your favorite Daredevil villain? I say he's Stilt Man.
Good. You should.
Because he's fucking cool. He's a guy. He's got like legs that extend into the size of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
It's an interesting character for who's an acrobat.
And I like that he can use his legs as weapons. You know what I mean? It's not just oh, it's stupid, he's tall. It's like he can fire that telescoping leg, and for a street level hero like Daredevil, it's quite a threat. I like those engagements. Yeah.
He's a, you know, like with characters, you gotta be fun to look at. That's why Silver Surfer works, because he's a big shiny guy on a surfboard in space. He contrasts his shininess versus the black background on a surfboard.
So you're saying the visuals are sell the name more than the name necessarily initially sells it?
No, the visuals sell the name, and the name also needs to sell the visual. Like,
okay.
Like if I told
symbiotic, you're saying it's a symbiosis. Okay.
Yeah, they complement each other. Like if I told you, hey, I read this comic book called Cyber Frog, without even seeing the character, you're gonna picture an animatron or anamorphic frog with some type of robot part, just instinctively. Even if you never even heard of RoboCop, you're gonna be like, well, he's got some kind of cop outfit and he's a robot.
Right.
You're naturally gonna instinctively put it together.
Drake Constant says Inspector Gadget is a good name.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
And now here's an interesting concept too. You know why Inspector Gadget is a good name? Because ever since the very first episode, it has been banged into our heads with a melody.
He's got a great name.
Right? They built it into the song, and you can't even see the name without hearing that. It's not Inspector Gadget, it's Inspector Gadget. And we're sitting there snapping, tapping our foot to this idea that's kind of just being mesmerized into our brains here.
This ties into something Evie was saying earlier, Rebop Rob, and she was playing around with the Reboop Jim. She's playing around with that name you were mentioning there, Magabats. And what's interesting is the fact that certain names have, this is something I don't necessarily think about as much myself, but some names have a very musical quality to them. And so the approach to the name isn't necessarily the meaning behind the name or how it embodies a character. Sometimes people go for names because it just has a certain cadence or rhythm to it. And so I think that's an important consideration as well.
I don't know if you guys if you know this deep cut, but the guy who wrote the Inspector Gadget theme is also the same person who wrote the Power Rangers theme, and they pretty much have the same thing. Go, go, Power Rangers. Da-na-na-na. Go, Gadget, go.
Oh,
Do,
gosh.
do, 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 do. Go. You know, like they got the same. They got a catchy thing that tells them to go, essentially, and kids will repeat that as they like play their version of it in their imagination.
I see that. No, yeah, that's interesting.
Right. I have a shirt of Adam West that says no all behind him.
Yeah, and you can hear it, right?
Yeah. Old ladies love it. They think it's great.
Yeah, Go is in a lot of
Speed
manga-related
Racer.
stuff too. I think Sonic X had a lot of
yeah.
Go in the theme.
Teen Titans Go.
Drake Tungsten says Go Speed Racer Go. Yeah, Go is a big thing there.
Go, 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 go. Oh, wait, wrong.
All right, so let's see here. Anyone else from chat? What's your favorite superhero name? If you haven't told us already, we've seen a couple good ones.
And while we're at it, why don't you all vote? Which of us 5 has the best name?
Like actual screen name?
Yeah.
I think Matt just wins.
just Matt.
Just Matt, but with one T. Just one T though.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with that, and it's his
Yeah.
show, so.
Well, no, it's we're talking about superheroes a lot though, so it's got to be like Matt with a backwards upside down R as the T.
It's the T's backwards.
right.
That's what it is.
There you go.
Wait a second.
The second T is before the
The
first.
A is also backwards.
Yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
there
The
you
A
go.
is backwards.
And the M and the W. That's
All right. So since we need some visuals on screen, I'm going to share some super schooled names, and I know that
I was gonna suggest that.
yeah, and this is going to go against my talking about puns because most of the character names in super schooled are they're pretty punny. So this is Short Fuse, whose real name is Tom Bustion.
yeah,
I'm shaking my head. You can't
Yeah,
see
yeah.
it. I'm shaking my head.
No, we have worse ones. Give me a minute.
Oh, wait a
let me go into the archives here. All right, so we got Tom Bustion. Who else do we got here?
Yes.
This is Flight Plan.
Stupid.
Thanks a lot, man.
Oh,
So it's a comedy strip, so you're supposed to laugh.
No, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so that's Flight Plan. Who else we got here? We can.
Speaking of which,
This one isn't a pun. This is just the guy. This is big.
this is it. Here we go. We started out with
Oh, that's right. Yeah, Big McLarge Huge. Yeah, that was yeah. That was our space mutiny reference. I forgot we made that. Great episode of MST3K. Let's see here.
Oh gosh.
Oh, this one's probably one of my favorites, although it's not necessarily a pun. This is Garbage Can Man.
1, 2,
and I was
3, 4, 5.
And this was I think inspired by just like the Tick, you know, just like having like superhero or supervillain characters who were just worthless essentially. So we wanted a character.
Batman is a great fun name, by the way.
That is a see I because Batman is the one from the live action, right? And then
Yeah.
it's Die Fledermaus in the cartoon. Both of those are good for different reasons. Batman is probably a better name for the pun side of it. Die Fledermaus is more of like just the kind of goofy pop culture reference, or operatic actually. All right, who else we got? Oh, this is a good one. This is Sarabella. She's our mentalist. So
Now this
Yeah.
is something that I noticed Twitless does a lot too with his hero names, even when it's serious, is that it'll be a kind, not necessarily a pun so much as a semi play on words. but done often in the concept of mashing 2 or 3 different words together in that play of words.
Yes, I'm brilliant. Thank you. I will take that. Let's see here. This is Daisy Chain. He's our hippie hero. I'm going to keep throwing these up here until someone else. Yep. Evie, Sarah
Yeah,
Bellum.
that's her real name.
Yeah.
What?
We added an H. It's totally different. Says Drake. I did not intentionally do the Powerpuff Girl reference.
We're not going to get sued, are we?
I mean, come at me, bro. You can, own our
No, not
website.
we. Just Twitless.
Just me.
Just
Yeah.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
He did it.
Well, technically, Cartoonicus is my artist, so we're both guilty.
Guilt by association.
We're both very, very, very guilty.
No, wait, you
this
just
is,
skipped over 2 of them.
I know, but I had to skip over the 2 of them because this is probably our worst pun.
Oh.
It definitely ranks up there. This is antagonist.
That's solid. Solid.
Oh gosh, you just remind me of the fact that the Riddler's name is what is it?
Edward Enigma. Enigma. Yeah.
And that's actually like a bit of Batman lore that gets me annoyed. Is that Enigma was not the Riddler's name? It was his alias. His name was Eddie Nashton.
Oh, that makes so much more sense.
And he had gone by Enigma as his when he was a carnival mentalist.
He's a carny.
Yeah, he was a carny, and so that was like his carny name.
His
His
first
ever since
appearance is Nashton.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, if you watch Batman Forever, it's Enigma, so that's
since Batman Forever. No one's even talked about that.
See, that's really interesting because I always thought that the best way to portray the Riddler would be like as a hacker, and so the idea that he has that kind of screen name essentially is actually quite appropriate.
You don't like him as the Zodiac killer who uses Reddit?
The what?
That's what he is apparently in the new movie, something like that.
Yeah, he's pretty much the Zodiac killer who has a following of 500 people on his channel.
What is he like? Is he like a MGTOW? He's an incel?
What I don't like, and it sounds like they're doing it again, what I often don't like about the Riddler is that he feels like a knockoff Joker. And I will support anything that gets him away from that. Away from the grandiose, kind of flamboyant standing, away from the, the fact that literally they will both just leave their calling card in the same way. There's so many times when I'm like, I cannot tell the difference between these 2 characters. Please, someone take them and push them in separate directions.
Well, what's funny is that they really tried to make the Riddler a different character in this new movie, and essentially all they did was make him classic Joker on accident. Because in the first appearance of Joker is killing a bunch of politicians, and in this one, that's what he's doing. That's what the Riddler's doing.
That's the problem.
Look what they did with Jim Carrey,
right? That's the problem with Joker as a not problem, but that's just the side effect of there's been like 1,000 versions of Joker. So whatever direction you take a Batman villain, there's going to be a version of Joker that's been in that exact direction. It's impossible to do at this point. Oh, we're gonna have a cosmically powered Judge Death. Yeah, that's the Batman who laughs. Like there's literally I think a Joker for like everything at this point. So if you're gonna push him in different directions, like good luck, buddy.
Well, what I'm looking forward to is the adaptation of the classic War of Boners Joker.
Oh god, that's a classic.
I posted on Facebook the other day saying if Warner Brothers let me make a Batman movie, I can't promise it would be good, but everyone would remember it. And it's like a bunch. I posted a bunch of covers from like the Silver Age where like Batman is like he's joining the Dragon Society, and it's like this weird Illuminati people with dragon people, and he's like taking off his dragon mask to reveal his Batman mask under it, and they're all pointing at him like, I knew it was a fake. And then there's like the creature that came from the Batcave, and there's like Batman and Robin, or like there's a spaceship, and this like weird, Silver Age alien is coming out, and the covers are just great. I cannot wait for the Batman Silver Age omnibus to drop this summer. I'm really looking forward to that.
Here's another good example of one of Twitless's mashup play on words, where the word flare has to do more with her personality.
Yeah, because she's like all pizzazz and
She's
flash.
got style. She's got flair.
She's got flair. Yeah, solar flare. There you go. Look at us. Although, like I said, for some reason, I just love the concept of Lead Boy. We just took the what's that restaurant with the
That's Rich Bob's Big Boy.
Yeah. We just took Big Boy and turned him into a solid lump of lead.
Oh, he looks like Richie Rich to me.
A little.
That's interesting.
Interesting. We were going for Big Boy, and just made out of pure lead. But he's very cheerful character. Although he's extremely slow.
You know what? I have a theory about that. I think maybe it's actually just taking him a long time to change his emotion.
Really? Is that what you think? Okay.
He's headed toward being sad. He just hasn't gotten there yet.
He hasn't gotten there yet. It's gonna take him like 100 years. We did okay.
Yes.
This is Claymore. His real name is, where is it? Gaseous Clay.
You may need to explain that one to people.
This is our kind of Clayface.
Does anyone here know who Cassius Clay actually is?
Rhys knows. I was gonna say Rhys knows who.
Yeah.
Rhys is our resident boomer.
Yeah.
So
Cassius Clay was actually named after an abolitionist, and then he decided, not knowing that he was named for an abolitionist, decided that his name was the name of his oppression when he became a Muslim, and changed it to Muhammad Ali. The irony is that Muhammad sold and used as currency black African slaves, so that's fun.
He was still a really good boxer.
Muhammad,
I
wasn't aware he
love
had a
ignorant.
boxer.
Yeah. You didn't? I'm glad I could educate you on that.
I wasn't aware.
I'm glad that's news to you.
I heard that
he was a boxer?
Yeah, he fought Superman one time.
He fought Superman that one
right.
time.
Not Muhammad Ali, the real Muhammad. I was unaware he was a boxer.
He was.
Well,
he just fought.
He just beat little girls, not other opponents his size.
Ouch.
He just fought women.
Okay.
And there goes our monetization again.
Yes, you only had 7 viewers. You'll be all right.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, here's probably your favorite of all time, right?
Algebron.
No, the other
I
one.
already hate him.
Hey, is
I
now
was
the
at-
time to bring back the math equation?
Yeah, he serves Dread Calculu.
I was that kid in high school who was like, why the fuck is there letters in math now?
Yeah, exactly.
And they were like, you have to find X. I'm like, no, fuck that. Just give me the numbers.
It's just
That's the point.
The numbers just represent things you don't know. You know.
I love is someone that wonderful meme, and someone posted it was a math problem, find X, and someone drew an arrow and said, here it is.
Oh yeah, the circle around it.
Oh,
yeah,
yes,
that's my favorite. Drake Tungsten says, I know a character named Calculus.
Oh, that's even better.
That one hurt. I'm
Do you guys remember the episode of Simpsons where Homer changed his name because he saw it on a washing machine to Max Powers?
That's a great.
Well, okay, here. Have you ever heard these jokes where it goes like, what do you call someone with no arms and no legs?
Nobody knows.
Who floats in the ocean?
It's Bob.
Bingo. What do you call someone with no arms and no legs who sits in front of your door?
Would be Matt.
Yep. What do you call someone with no arms and no legs who stands in front of a band?
Well, if he no legs, he can't stand at all. How insensitive are you?
Mike. What do you call someone with no arms and no legs who's on fire? Anakin.
That's funny.
At least I got one laugh.
Okay, that one. See that's the joke wasn't a pun. That's why I laughed.
There you
go.
Do you guys know what kind of pants the Mario Bros wear? Denim.
Oh, I love that.
Gosh, get it!
That's
Kick him!
brilliant.
Kick him!
Oh, Mondrian man.
Yeah, this is me trying to be smart. This is the Mondrian man. Hang on a wall art. Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say his name has got to be Art.
Yeah. His real name, his real code name should be. Good lord, I feel like this stream has been a mistake. I'm allergic to the amount of puns we've been making, and
there's something very prestige about your last character.
For a second, I thought that character was a ripoff of Kakaider, but then I realized I was wrong.
The what?
I thought it was a ripoff of Kakaider, but then I realized I was wrong.
It's I was ripping off of Piet Mondrian, the guy who does those artworks that are just those like.
But at first glance, I thought it was Kakaider influence. I don't know if you know who that is or what that is.
I don't. What is that?
Kakaider is a show that predates Kamen Rider.
Oh, okay.
And there was a Kakaider anime that aired on Toonami in the States for one season, and I swear me and my friend are the only ones who saw it and watched it. Because anytime I bring up Kakaider, like, no one remembers it. But he's got one side of him is red and the other side of him is blue. And he's got,
I see. I pulled it up. I see what you mean. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. There was a tokusatsu show in the early 70s, and then there was a anime in the late 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's something interesting that you've just brought up, because this is a very common thing to see all throughout. Whenever you've got a goof superhero name, you have a female character, and it's something Ella like that. But here's the thing: can anyone tell me of a actual comic book character that had that naming convention? Or else, where did this idea came from? What's that?
Vampirella.
Oh yeah, that's right.
There's your answer.
There you go. That one's the one that everyone would know.
That's it.
Even if you haven't read a Vampirella comic, goodness gracious. Even if you haven't read a Vampirella comic, you know who she is. Vampirella, yeah.
Vampirella.
Not Vampirella.
No.
You can go either way.
Yeah, maybe.
Like people who say Red Sonja, and you just want to punch it. It's Sonya, but they're like, yeah, Sonja. You just want to punch him in the mouth.
Of course.
Or people say Conan the Barbarian. Like,
yeah. like he's a cone.
The late night talk show host.
This was our one of our few attempts in Super School to actually be a little political. There's actually a slight political message to this comic.
Is there?
Oh yeah. The whole premise is right before the punchline. The setup is we have this character called Gun Nut, and his power is that he has guns.
Does he shoot nuts?
No, yeah.
Oh, we should have done that. We should have made him a squirrel.
No, so the whole point is that we talk about the fact that he gets untold power by just getting guns, and then we say the power went to his head. Is there anyone who can stop him? So how do you stop a bad guy with a gun?
Good guy
with another gun.
Obviously.
Good guy with a gun.
So the last panel is him being arrested with a bunch of people pointing guns at him. So, That was my sly little bit of political messaging. I think it's one of the few times I've done that in Super.
Highly offended.
I'm canceled.
Keep politics out of superheroes.
Cartoonix, did you not get that I was doing that?
I got the joke.
Okay.
I
He
didn't
just didn't
think of
find it
as
funny.
Okay.
a message or anything.
Gotcha.
I admit I wasn't thinking of the good guy with the gun idea. I was just thinking of the irony.
Okay.
That's always the right's argument. It's like, that's how you stop a bad guy with a gun. You have a good guy with a gun. You're like, well, duh.
Yeah.
Like every story ever, the good guy always beats the bad guy. So if you call one the bad guy, of course the good guy's gonna win.
I do remember what was the originally the script was going to call for him just not having a costume or a name, but just being some random guy to show that it was anybody can have a superpower with a gun. But I was going to say I managed to convince Logan not to go that route because I didn't like the idea of an average citizen having a gun being portrayed as the bad guy.
So you're supposed to call me Twitless. What are you doing?
I'm sorry about that.
No,
Damn it.
I don't care.
Now I know your real name, Twitless, even though it's been on the screen the entire time.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah,
know
good
which.
point. Yeah, good
Until now,
point.
you didn't know which was which.
Yeah, I know.
You'd have to go to check the website out and find very.
Writers always get the credit first because the writers are the.
Because you were
Just
egomaniacs.
because, yeah.
Yeah.
When I was in middle school, I had this I never made a comic about it, but I had a comic that I would doodle little fun pieces of art. It was called World War II and a Half, and so Hitler, the Nazis, had taken the parts of Hitler and reformed him into a robot.
Oh gosh.
And so his name was Hitler because it sounded robotic to me. Hitler, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Did any of you guys see the Guardians of Justice?
I did
No.
not. That was the TV series, cartoon series, or whatever that's based on King Feature Syndicate characters.
Yes, and
The
that was done
Phantom,
by
Mandrake, the
Mandrake.
Magician.
Oh, I know.
not
of
that one.
show.
Not that
Oh,
one.
okay.
Oh, not
It's one by Adi Shankar, and in it he had World War III started in 1947 by Cyborg Hitler, who had an army of robots.
So
My
no, we
favorite.
don't.
Oh, go ahead.
So I was unintentionally unoriginal as a 13-year-old boy.
Well, actually,
Well,
your
that's a-
13-year-old reference came first.
They just stole your idea.
And so, well, I guess it gets slightly offensive because Hitler he needs to fight somebody, and based after the events of the last war, the Jews decide that they need an upper hand, so they make their own superhero and they name him Juperman.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah.
Oh my god.
Well, that was bad.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was a little 13-year-old edgelord who and I thought of him kind of like a mix between Captain America and Superman, and so he would throw his yarmulke like Captain America throws his shield.
Oh,
Listen,
Yeah,
that hurts me.
listen.
We're about to get struck by the ADL.
No, here's the thing, guys. It is bad, but you need to go straight to and find and contact Seth MacFarlane because he will sign you up in a second.
Yeah,
I was gonna say if you want. I'm not even gonna mention that on the stream. Never mind. This is Captain. Yeah.
tell me in Holy Legion. You can tell me in the Holy Legion.
I think we have hit the floor on this stream now. I'm not sure. I'm not sure we need to rip up the floorboards and go any deeper.
If it makes you feel any better, the only one who said anything bad was the guy with the name MAGA in his name with the MAGA hat on his character. So everyone's okay except me.
We're all uncanceled. So this is Captain Planetarium, which, like I said, has nothing to do with actual planetariums, but we were riffing on Captain Planet. Also buy our toys that we don't have. But one thing, yeah. So this is And Rhys, if you got any images to share with some of your goofy names, I mean, go right ahead.
Yeah, not a whole lot. Not
Let's
a
see
whole lot.
those
I had some. I had Captain Truancy up on the.
That's right.
screen
Yeah, I do remember
before.
Captain Truancy. Good
That
point.
was up there because I had been talking about it. I do have. This is like the 6th page of Forces. Been recently recolored, but this is we drew this back in 2006. It was drawn by 2 guys who are not artists, and that's Titania, who is a guidance counselor at Jack Cole's Institute of Superheroics, and that there's Chad right there, on his way to. He thinks he's going to villain school, but he ends up going to hero school.
He
So that
does
was
kind
that
of look
whole-
like the meme.
Yeah, from before though. This was, like I said, drawn in 2005 was actually when we drew this, the December of 2005. And
I just looked up who Jack Cole was.
yes,
I mean,
creator of Plastic Man.
So I found the choreographer who was the father of theatrical jazz dance.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, all of our superhero schools are named after deceased comicers. There's the Bill Everett School, the Jack Cole School, and I can't remember the others right now, but yeah, they're all named after deceased comicers. A lot of them are Golden Agers.
All right.
But yeah, Jack Cole created Plastic Man, and he was worked with a bunch of the quality guys, and ended up actually killing himself. He had a problem with depression. He fought for years and years and lost, but made some of the best stuff out there. So,
Well, we just sunk through the floor there, Larry.
yeah, it's a sad story. But I wanted to memorialize his work in our comic because what Cole did for humor and crime comics has never really been met. I don't think anyone's come close to touching it. Well, yeah, I don't know. It's unique.
Do you mean humor comics and crime comics, or humor and crime comics?
Both.
Okay.
Both. Yeah. That was the thing. Is like his thing. Was a real marriage between those disciplines.
Okay.
So, we've got Titania here. This is Rapunzel. This is the Connoisseur. This is Breakdown, and this is Game Boy. So.
Game Boy's a good one.
Oh.
So, Game Boy is he's a gag character we've got. But so those are the.
Somebody called Nintendo.
Oh, actually, we named him after the game system. He constantly is gaming, and his color scheme is based on the old Game Boy release too. So, but anyway, it's an hour and a half, guys. I think we've talked about everything there is to talk about. Does anybody in the chat have further questions? Yeah, I will say a little bit about Game Boy. Game Boy is a 3rd generation hero. He has the power to move and transport himself through any digital medium. He can live inside of video games. He can travel through the internet, and that's sort of like his shtick. We do have. I will share one little thing if I can find it quick here.
Well, I need to share Combustibel since you spoiled that for our chat. I have to show off Combustibel.
Good point.
Even though she hasn't even appeared, I'm still working on the lettering for
First,
that
I'm going to
issue.
go ahead and show you this postcard. Game Boy sent his mom after spending a week with the A-Team guys. So
that's some Photoshop. That's some old school Photoshop.
old school
there.
stuff. Yep. Here he is on Gilligan's Island. Here's with MacGyver. And visiting the cast of Jumajini.
That's cool. I like that.
So there you have it.
Interesting. This is Combustibel because she's a Southern Belle.
Oh,
So we're channeling that aspect of her of her personality, and obviously with the fire.
That's
So,
hilarious.
This will be an Omega Girl Adventures of Omega Girl issue 3, which will be on Indie Planet and eventually Amazon Kindle. But this is a good story. This is an excellent Omega Girl story. It's got a different emotional tone to it. Definitely some fun. But I spend hours and days. Like I said, I fill notebooks with names and I test them out, test drive them out, and try to capture that character. So it's time consuming, but it's also something I can do when I'm really bored in a class I don't want to pay attention to. So,
will there be a Omega Girl and Meta Girl crossover?
I don't know. I am open to crossovers, but it really just depends on what opportunities provide themselves, and who's eager to do it and who's available to do it. I just want to avoid drama. Sometimes collaborations with crossovers can lead to drama. I really want nothing to do with drama. I just want to have fun, make some good comics. So if someone's interested in doing a crossover and it works out and it's cool, I'm definitely open to it. Oh gosh, you put him in Legend of Zelda? That's awesome.
Yep.
I like that.
Here he is visiting Pitfall Harry.
Who did those? Those are pretty well done.
These are Chris put these together back in the day.
Yeah, that's some pixel art. That works out. That's working out pretty well for you. Oh yeah. That's fun.
Wow.
Yeah, cool.
Does he have like Cloud, the same hair as like Cloud from Final Fantasy?
Kinda.
Yeah.
Sort of. I mean, we just went for a generic.
Anime.
You needed to put him in Final Fantasy VII because you put him in Final Fantasy VIII, and he would have fit better in. Never mind.
Well, part of it was the joke that Chris wanted to play about Cloud whining, and I don't know Final Fantasy, so that was part of the whole deal. Is like Chris is a big RPG, old school video RPG fan, and I've just found those kind of games dull. So Chris was the game between us.
Mrs. H is asking a really important question in chat. Where's Volume 1 of Omega Girl? Well, that's on Indie Planet. She says, I need to buy it so I can get Red Rooster. Okay, you need to buy it so you can get Omega Girl. That's the real reason. And as a side benefit, you get Red Rooster. Thanks a lot, Mrs. H.
Wait. So you're telling me I should get Red Rooster that won't take 2 years?
I bought a copy at Walmart, and Mrs. H has been hounding me for it because I have 2 copies because Rhys gave me his trade paperback version that I'm keeping because it's a nice trade paperback because he didn't like it. But so I ended up buying the Walmart copies, and I have extras, and so Mrs. H was like, I want to read it. So I'm like, okay, you buy Omega Girl. I will mail you I will mail you my copies of Red Rooster. I have them with me. Let me see over here.
Well, if I buy your comic, you giving out any other comics? I just spilled my water on my on one of my shelves today, and a good handful of my Epic collections got a little water damage. That was disappointing.
Oh gosh. So yeah, we'll have to talk. We'll see. I'm definitely open if I meet you in person. I'll give you can go through some of my back issues. But we'll see. But Mrs. H says she needs Omega Girl for reference for the Omega Girl Spider Pickle crossover. Definitely. Spider Pickle is, of course, the Mattriarchy's de facto mascot for weird reasons. Go back and watch. Where did he originate from? It was the multiverse
episode.
Multiverse episode. Go back and watch the multiverse episode if you want to see the origin of Spider Pickle. Speaking of which, where's our Spider Pickle for today, Mrs. H? Deliver. It's your. We have expectations now. We need more Spider Pickle.
He's gonna be the world's greatest in joke.
He's always just so freaking sad. Is the funny bit. But sorry, Rhys, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. I didn't know. I honestly can't remember if I had anything to say further or not. So,
hopefully, we gave people some inspiration on how to do names.
Do names. Yeah. Don't call people names. There we go. That's a good piece of advice.
What's the fun in that?
I'm trying to be nice.
But call people by their names.
Oh, okay.
Well, then of course, you never know if you might run into, this is this character right here in the middle. This is a character called Diva Prince, who was created by a collaborator of ours back in the day, kind of co-created, and based upon somebody who we knew, who we felt was kind of a Diva Prince. So that sure it's a character name that was sort of calling a person a name. So.
Yeah. You're sure it's not the artist formerly known as Diva Prince?
No, it's a whole different kind of a thing. But
All right, Mrs. H says she's been very, very busy. I hope you can relax then. So you've had a long day. You just kick your feet up and.
Actually, you brought up something interesting though by calling someone a name with that, is because that's actually what happened to one of the more famous characters of the last few decades, and that's Mario.
What about Mario?
In terms of Mario the game character?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was named after someone who Shigeru Miyamoto absolutely hated and was parodying at the time.
Well, that's the same thing with Godzilla. Okay, before we break, I do have to tell the origin story of Godzilla.
Gojira.
Okay. It's a portmanteau of Gojira and it's a portmanteau of two Japanese words for gorilla and whale. And there was apparently a guy, I think at Toho, who was just really big and fat, and they called him Gorilla Whale. And the director for Godzilla just basically liked the sound of the name, and just took it. So yeah, the names of some of the kaiju they have some very interesting stories behind them. So there you go for Gojira. And then for Mothra, they actually wanted to use like the English name, because like I think the Japanese word for moth is just like, it's like one syllable. It's like go or something. It's just nothing. So they needed to kind of use, a language that had a longer word for moth to get something to work with. So
they went from a word that had one syllable to another word that had one syllable.
No, but you can do more with like Mothra. It's easier to make it sound kind of epic. With go, it's just kind of like, what do you do with that?
Go.
There's your random bit of trivia. The Mothra song is my 3-year-old's favorite song right now. Oh, were you watching Godzilla versus the Sea Monster, where they're like Mothra?
Oh.
The little miniature twins.
If anyone does watch Godzilla, I highly recommend you to go watch Kukaider. I'm going to bring up Kukaider again.
There we go. Well, some of the
and his theme song has "Go Go Go" in it.
There we go.
There we go.
I was thinking, baby Mothra, do.
Well, I know if you like Godzilla, you can watch. I think it's Ultraman, and Godzilla is actually like an ally of like the Ultraman family.
Do you know how that came to be with Ultraman?
I do not.
So here's your Godzilla trivia to stack on here. So the co-creator of Godzilla, which is the costume designer for Toho,
mm-hmm.
he was not happy with the contract and the money that he was making for all his work in Toho. So he decided to leave Toho and start his own studio. And what they did is they started their own studio, but they didn't have the money or the budget to make feature film, but they had enough money to make like TV. So they started with Ultra Q, and Ultra Q is kind of a mix between like the Twilight Zone and like X-Files in like a kaiju world.
Oh my.
Interesting.
So you can kind of combine, so it's an anthology show with these agents who are investigating kaijus essentially. And then Ultraman is the second season, but the co-creator of Godzilla is the co-creator of Ultraman. And it was just because of money. And he's like, I'm not getting enough money at Toho, so I'm going to go make my own studio. And in the process, he created an entirely new thing on top of that.
So do you think we'll ever get a crossover?
No. The closest what we'll get is that
there already was, like, Godzilla was a minor character on one of the Ultraman shows at the time.
No, if you watch that Ultraman episode, his name is not Godzilla, and it's a old used Godzilla costume. And
I'm pretty sure actual Godzilla's in it.
I promise you it's not. Because
Ultraman and Godzilla have both been in the Marvel universe, so
Toho and Tsunade or whatever
Oh, they called him a different name. Okay, so I knew that
Well,
they were
they're-
using the suits, and they're just okay.
Yeah, it's the guy. The guy owned the suit. He built that suit, so he just like took a part off and then added a new part on the head, essentially. And he's like, "There you go." You're like, "That's Godzilla with the horn." No, it's not. That's pretty much what it was. And
I'm thinking, I might be thinking of something else. There was a TV series where actual
you're
Godzilla.
because of the success of Ultraman, Godzilla, the people at Toho go, "Oh, we need someone else," and that's Jet Jaguar.
No, I'm not thinking of Jet Jaguar. There was an actual television show that Godzilla showed up on as like a minor character, and I need to look it back up because it's not Ultraman,
Minor
it's something else. It was some sort of like a Super Sentai kind of thing.
When has Godzilla ever been a minor character?
He was just he had like they put him in a cave and he just showed up and helped out a couple times.
Godzilla was a minor character in the film called Godzilla in 2014.
Good. Well, that might be a fair
Okay,
criticism.
you just win the internet.
Hold on. There is one that he was in. I'll find it. Probably after the stream.
Yeah, if you want to shoot tokusatsu with me, man, I will appreciate it. 'Cause I love tokusatsu. It's one of my favorite genres, but no one really knows what it is, and then I always have to explain it.
Uh-huh.
Like I always be like, "Yeah, I love tokusatsu," and people normies are like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like Godzilla?" They're like, "Yeah." Like Power Rangers and stuff like that. That's tokusatsu. They're like, "I thought Power Rangers was American." Then I have to. It's just nonsense.
And there was a Japanese series for I forgot the actual Japanese name for Power Rangers. Now it's completely blanking in my head.
Super Sentai.
Super Sentai, yeah.
Right, where there was a Sentai series where they were traveling back in time through other series because there was a villain who was trying to alter the past of the previous series.
That is Go Kiger.
Zone
I
Fighter. Zone Fighter.
Yeah.
I thought that was just the Flash.
Zone Fighter is the show where Godzilla is like a minor side character ally.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
it's-
they
and
go Kaider.
and it's I think it is a you're right, MAGA. It was an answer to the Ultraman series and some other ones, and like
Okay.
Kaider and Kamen Rider. But yeah, you can look up, and it's basically this type of Ultraman-esque kind of situation. But Godzilla's like, and they even like make a cave. They build like a Godzilla cave for him and summon him occasionally when they're like, "Oh, we can't face this threat alone. Let's summon Godzilla," which would be like my first answer for any threat.
Yeah,
Oh,
with
there's-
when the success of Ultraman is like really a phenomenon in itself, because like Godzilla would not have lasted, right? But the idea of a superhero that fights giant monsters does last, and it essentially created an entirely giant children's market in Japan, because then you have
Right.
Kokaider, Spider-Man. Spider-Man was a tokusatsu show, which then we got Super Sentai, Metal, what are they called? Metal, damn it. There's so many tokusatsu shows like that are just insane. Little trivia too is Spider-Man was a show from Toho, and they, Spider-Man had like a giant robot.
Yeah, I've seen clips of that.
You've
yeah.
seen clips, right? And so as Spider-Man was airing in Japan, and even though it got canceled, the most popular thing about the Spider-Man show in Japan was him having a giant robot. And so what they decided to do,
Oh.
they decided, they're like, well, the kids like this giant robot idea, so let's just put it in Super Sentai, because they'll buy the giant robot toys. And so essentially Spider-Man inspired the Power Rangers to have a giant robot.
Wow.
So even though it's the same studio that was making Super Sentai, Kamen Rider, Kokaider, and Spider-Man, Spider-Man was the first one to have a giant robot, and the show got canceled. So they were like, kids like these giant robots.
Huh.
And so they're like, put it in Sentai. So the next season of Sentai had a giant robot,
There you go.
which is great.
That's how you
The
make.
rest
That's how
is
you make
history.
Comics, just whatever sells toys. Works for Transformers.
Speaking of names, what is the deal with Transformers naming everything Con, Tron, Bon, Automon?
Because it sounds cool. What's wrong with you?
It sounds robotic, like Hitler.
Yeah. My favorite joke on that is there's a guy who's he's super fat and obese, and he's dressed up like Hitler, and someone called him Eatler. And that just cracked me the hell up. All right.
I don't know if you guys saw the Bumblebee movie or not, but
I did.
There's a part, like the best part in the entire movie was the U.S. government is like teaming up with the Decepticons, and one guy goes, we can't trust them. We're like, well, why not? He's like, they're called Decepticons.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that now.
And then they all look at him like he's stupid.
Yeah, exactly.
What was that, John Cena who said that?
I don't remember. It was I see movies once, and then I just remember like one line that I like, and then I never remember the movie.
That movie wasn't anything super special, but it was still better than all the other Transformers.
I
movie
disagree.
combined.
I like Transformers.
You said you
1.
didn't even see it.
I like the first one.
I have left
okay.
every Hasbro property. I didn't see Ouija, so that doesn't count. But every Hasbro property that's a film, I've left entertained, while the internet of nerds of that fan base all just hate on it. I'm like, I don't know. I thought the movie about the toy cars that turned into robots was kind of fun.
Were you the one guy who enjoyed Battleship?
I did.
No.
I got no shame in it, man. I went in there to see ships shoot each other, and I got what I wanted out of
There
it.
you go.
You know, like that's what. Yeah, that's, like I went into the Meg with no information other than like the house ads and comics. I'm like, oh, it's a giant shark. I just want to see a giant shark. I had no idea that like Jason Statham was going to be in it, playing Jason Statham, who then punches a shark in the head. Like I wasn't expecting Jason Statham to run up a shark and then Superman punch it. And I got my $13 worth out of just that scene.
Rhys, you're speed running your comic. I can't keep up.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I think we're about over time. Nanji, thank you for joining the chat, even as we're I think about to close out. But it's been a good chat. It's been a good talk today, even though we didn't plan it as well as we've planned other streams. But I think it went well. We've settled nothing as usual. We've definitely talked about a lot of good ideas regarding superhero names and so on.
We got our fill of puns.
Definitely make sure to check out Forces of Good and Evil, which is the comic that is flashing before your eyes, just like your life flashes before your eyes before you die. You fight to live. There you go.
Is that like the game?
Yeah, they're playing. They're supposed to be playing a video game.
Was it Dead for something? Dead for something?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the
House of the Dead.
No, there was a game.
There's a game.
There was a game that had that same kind of.
It's a zombie shooter, but I don't remember what it is now.
House of the Dead is the zombie shooter.
Yeah, there's more than one though.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah,
it was like
Carnival, House of the Dead,
Left 4 Dead.
Left, yeah.
Well, Left 4 Dead was a console game.
Yeah, I think there was a cabinet some places. I think I've seen them somewhere.
Maybe.
Anyway,
it played like an arcade game.
I mean, I've seen a Halo arcade game, so I think they'll make one out of anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, this in the chat they say actually has Left 4 Dead. I just wasn't even looking at the chat. There, thanks, Drake. That's the joke I'm making. I actually drew this cover, so I'm pretty pleased with that.
I like the font. I like the font.
That's
you guys are ripped.
That's not the chat. Chat is kind of ripped. So, okay, guys. Oh, hey, I will go. I'm actually gonna go ahead and before we go, I wanted to show off one of our covers that is not for our webcomic. That is not me. Scrolling back.
I suppose we should do our plugging.
And and happy birthday, Larry.
Haven't we
That's
been
my
plugging-
plug. Is happy 45 for me.
Oh, happy birthday!
That's what you're doing on your 45th birthday?
I mean,
Yep.
I already had a nice dinner. I got a present. Had a bunch of cake.
And now he's surrounded by loved ones.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
And in 10 more years, you'll be able to get discounted tickets at the movie theater. So you got something to look forward to.
I mean, I already got the A list, so I already get discounted tickets.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, this art was done. I did the coloring on it, but the pencil ink art is by Rolf Gardeau. This is one of the artists we've worked with, and I love this cover. It's my idea. Day in the Life Part 2, Chad Gets a Girl, featuring Space Mutiny. So there you go. Check it out.
Alrighty.
For's Good Evil. That's it. And I think that's it. I don't know. I don't have the link to share for getting Omega Girl on the thingy me. I didn't dig that out ahead of time.
If you give me a second, I'll post it in chat because I have
Great.
mod power. In the meantime, what are we doing next week?
Next week we are my favorite Superman story.
Oh,
It's going to be Twitless and myself and Mike Hutchison and RJ Carter, and we're going to be pitching each other our favorite Superman comic and why it's the best.
Ooh.
So that's where that's going to go. And then the week after that, we are going over Ghostopolis, deep dive into Ghostopolis with number one Marmaduke fan, Matt Krotz, Twitless, and myself. So that's March, guys. Then we're in April, and who knows what April's going to have for us. I don't know. I'm hoping to do another genre review like we had done a couple of those in the past. So that'll be fun. But yeah, that's the thing. Does anybody have anything else they want to talk about? Share, pitch?
I will share this here. I have a new. Oops, putting the chat in. I mean the link in.
Hey, you can check out
Sorry,
Super School,
go for
check
that
out
first.
superschool.com and see a bunch of the characters that Twitless and Cartoonicus put together there.
Hold on, I'll put it in actual chat. Check out Cartoonicus. There you go.
Oops, wrong one.
I have mod power. I can pop links in chat. So yeah, check out if you like the opinions of the people today. Even if you don't, check this out. Magabats, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, you can find me on youtube.com. Magabats.
Magabats, all right. Check it out. Thank you
Where
for.
you-
Okay.
Let's see. And I'm also in the Holy Legion Discord with Twitless. So
Yeah, check out
I'm
check out the channel. Check out, have fun, and well, Rhys, it's your show. You should close it out.
Well, and Larry, of course, if you check out CurieComic.com, they've got some of Larry's books that are co-wrote the story with Matt Krotz in Wild Tales of Curie Volume 2, and more projects coming from that combo. I'm excited for that.
Yes, the problem with making a spy thriller is recent events have said, I might want to change up this story now because focus a whole lot on Afghanistan, and now there's something much more pertinent.
Yeah, that can happen. That can happen. I have my friend Matt Johnson had a whole thing happen with that it's a whole story. I'm not going to bother to stream with that. So, till next week, guys, get out there and keep loving comics, and we'll catch you all later. So, bye.